Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland Reviewer, and welcome to Lost in the Wasteland, where I have a guest on each week and get a chance to talk about their perspective on movies. And this is actually a special one because Diana here and I went to college together. And going back, because, oh my, this past fall was 10 years since we started at Rider.
Wow.
So
We're so old.
I wouldn't say we're old. We're definitely getting older. 10 years is like a big like holy crap, it's been 10 years since I started college. But I'm going to let Diana introduce herself a little bit and talk about what she's involved in, and then we're going to jump into our questions.
Thanks, Shane. Oh, thank you for that lovely intro. So yeah, as you said, my name's Diana Gebbia. I'm a host and voiceover artist. I went to college with Shane, so I'm originally from the East Coast, and now I'm living in LA doing my hosting thing. You can follow me on Instagram. It's at Diana Gebbia, Gebbia. I do all reality TV recaps, so like Bravo, The Bachelor, but I throw in some sassy memes. We play games in my stories. We have fun.
So I don't really watch a whole lot of reality TV, but I do
Mhm.
enjoy following Diana's content. And the funny
Thank
thing
you.
is, literally the only time I've ever watched Real Housewives was actually with Diana in college.
Oh my God, that's right. The season, I think I had season 1 on DVD, by the way, which is like so like who uses DVDs? It's like so crazy. Everyone's streaming everything now.
As I
But yeah,
sit
I still
next
have
to
that.
as I sit next to like 1,500 DVDs and Blu-rays to the left of
Because you're
me.
hardcore. No, but isn't it crazy now how like a DVD collection is almost like having a record collection in a way? Like,
It's
because
funny because I
every,
also do have one of those too. But
yeah.
in terms of, which it's really funny because it's a thing on Instagram for like movie collectors to like
Hmm.
show off their collections. I don't really do that much. I usually just review movies, but like I have these because I enjoy watching all of them.
Yeah.
But I know, God, this was a couple of falls ago when I was teaching my business math class, and there was a problem in my textbook. The textbook was from 2012, by the way. Still using a 2012 textbook at the university for this class. It's a good
Mhm.
textbook, but obviously things are going to get outdated. And there's a problem about defective DVDs in a bin. And I asked my class, how many of you own a DVD? Crickets.
Are you kidding me?
Not a single one out of 34. And then
Oh
I'm like,
my
well, I have
God.
enough for all of you. So I make up for it.
Take one
But,
and pass it down.
but yes, so I remember watching Real Housewives then, and every time I see anything about that, all I think of is prostitution whore.
Oh my
And
God,
she's like slamming on the table. Yep.
you.
Don't remember that. Those are special times because I remember watching that with you, and I watched The Hangover with you for the first
That's right. I forgot about that too. We had a lot of good times in that lounge.
yes, 2FL and Ziegler Hall.
Yes.
God, I brought up to my class this semester because like some of them live in Ziegler. I'm like, oh, my friends and I took over the 2FL
Did
because
they
it's like,
know what 2FL meant? Probably not.
yes,
Oh, they
actually.
did.
And then they laughed because they thought it was funny that I was like, we used to take it over and just play Yu-Gi-Oh all the time.
Yeah, it was like Yu-Gi-Oh! The guys would play League too, and then sometimes we'd do Rock Band. Like we'd move everyone's Rock Band in there.
Oh God, League.
Yeah, it's like PTSD. Sorry for that.
Well, it's funny because I was one of the three guys in our group that didn't play League of Legends, so I'm just like,
Yeah.
God. That was almost all of sophomore year. People
Yeah,
just
that's all they did.
working with their computer, click, 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 click.
I
But
think some of them still play.
I'm sure some of them still do. Oh my. Now, to get things started with the
Mhm.
questions, I always like to start off with probably the question that people get asked most about movies is, so Diana, what is your favorite movie?
So my favorite movie, which is not going to shock you, probably it's Tangled. I love a good Disney movie, and I feel like when that movie came out, like you had your Disney classics, like The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, but that was like the new age, like
Mhm.
classic. And I think a lot of people like to think of Frozen as the start of that, but like Tangled came first, and like Rapunzel and I just have so much in common with her. We're both free spirits, and we want to be free and be ourselves, and like we believe in happy endings. And there's one part of the movie where she has like 87 mood swings, and I'm like, oh, that's definitely me. Like I have so much love for that movie.
I Tangled was one of the ones that I definitely saw later,
Yeah.
but like it was definitely that time of like Princess and the Frog and Tangled,
Hmm.
and like the Disney princess was coming back because like in the early 2000s and the mid 2000s, it was like Emperor's New Groove,
Yeah.
Treasure Planet, Home on the Range. It was a very
Yeah.
interesting time for Disney. And now
Yeah.
back on top of things with like Raya coming out this month,
Yeah.
a lot of fun like that. So I enjoyed Tangle a lot. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Now, Diana, what's your earliest memory of going to the movies?
Oh, good question. So my mom says my first movie was Pocahontas, and fun fact, I actually got sick and threw up in my popcorn, but I don't remember that. Um, but maybe I would say maybe like Toy Story. I remember
Okay.
I was going with my cousins, so like or I don't think Christina was maybe not even born yet, or she was a baby, but it's definitely Brianna and Jessie I went with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Toy Story definitely is a film that has made an impact on basically anybody our ages
Yes.
childhoods. I actually got
Yeah.
lucky. I actually, during all of this pandemic, I haven't been back to an actual theater yet,
Hmm.
but there's a couple of drive-ins around and I actually got to see Toy Story for its God, what anniversary is it?
It's a very old anniversary. It's like,
25 years? Yeah.
that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to see that at the drive-in. So that was
Wow.
fun. And also probably your experience at Pocahontas is an experience you probably are happy that you don't remember,
Yeah.
because throwing up at the movie theater, probably not a memory you want to remember.
No. Absolutely not.
But Toy Story. Now,
Yeah.
Diana, do you have a particular favorite genre of movies?
That's a good question. So, I mean, I love like I know Disney isn't exactly a drama, that's more like genre, that's more animation.
Mhm.
But I mean, I love like the fairy tale, but I find myself like I'm into like documentaries now.
Okay.
Like out of nowhere, I'm like watching all true crime documentaries on Netflix. And like, you know me from college, like this was never me, like girl who's nervous about everything, like would not be all about true crime. But like I am so big into true crime docs right now.
Which is funny because like 90% of people in their late 20s probably are obsessed with true crime
Yeah.
documentaries at this point. God, I had taken this might have been one of the last trips I took to New York City before all of this nonsense, but I had gone into New York with a bunch of my coworkers and their significant others, and it turned into everybody just talking about what true crime documentaries they had been watching lately. I'm like, yeah, this sounds about right. And
There's
Netflix
so many.
Netflix sure has a lot of them.
Yeah.
The one that I remember most from this past year was crap, what was it called? It was like The American Family or something.
I just watched that the other night. Oh my God. That was so good. I mean, I hate saying it was so good because like an innocent wife and kids were killed, but
Yep.
like that guy, I don't know if we're allowed to curse, but like that guy was a bleep, bleep,
Go
bleep.
ahead. I
Okay.
don't.
That guy was a freaking asshole. Like,
That was a piece of
oh
shit.
my God.
And that film pulled back the layers so well too, because like at the beginning you're like, this poor guy lost his family, and by the end is like, you piece of shit.
Well, yeah, but like it's just so crazy because he was like, I knew he did it. So
Mhm.
like I could kind of tell. I looked at it through the lens of like, okay, you're a lying sack of shit. Like shaking the cop when he shook the cop's hand, I'm like, you idiot, you just strangled like your family, and you're gonna shake the cop's hand with their hands you killed them with. Oh, I hate you. Like, and then did you notice? Okay, there was a point, and this was like the cops' body cam footage. They're in the living room, and on the TV there was like a fetus in oil and like a skull, like it's a commercial for something. And it was wild because she was pregnant when he killed her. So like everyone's like, that's her haunting him.
That is creepy.
Isn't
That
that
is
so weird?
very creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an
Also
asshole.
some creepy foreshadowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Netflix is definitely becoming like, I feel like they have a new true crime documentary, either film or series, like every week at this
Yeah.
point. And I know I don't usually watch all of them, but like Jess watches a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like that's when she's sewing and stuff like that. What she has on the background is either Community right now or a bunch of documentary series from Netflix. So
Yeah. Did you
very,
guys watch the Cecil Hotel one?
I did.
That, yeah.
The funny thing is we watched it separately.
That's so
And
funny.
we both watched it, and I'm like, that felt like I was sitting and watching just a bunch of conspiracy theories for 4 episodes or whatever it was. I'm just like, everyone's like, this is too weird not to be true. And I'm sitting there like, it might just be too weird for it to be true.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
like, there's that, I think one episode, almost the whole entire thing was just these people being like, but this artist in this song alludes to what happened to this
Oh
woman.
my, that was pissing me off with that poor guy. I'm like, you're gonna kill her.
And,
Like,
like watching it reminded me of the documentary Room 237, which is
okay.
about not it's all it is the Shining conspiracy theories.
Oh,
And
interesting.
this documentarian's just like, I'm gonna give all of these people open mic to just talk about the most outlandish things, like how Stanley Kubrick filmed the fake moon landing, how like it was all about like, because apparently like the hotel's supposed to be on like a Indian burial ground, Native American burial ground, and it's just like um and it's like this guy's just like, well, they all sound crazy, but people like crazy. So I'm just going to make a movie about all these people talking about all these conspiracies,
Everyone wins.
except for the people that were in the movie, because then everybody makes fun of them. And they're
Exactly.
like, God, I think the most ridiculous one was early in the film when Jack Torrance is on his interview for
Mhm.
the job, and like Jack Nicholson's just sitting there like, it's like this guy's crazy already. But
Yeah.
the guy interviewing him stands up, and there's like a shelving unit on his desk, and one of the guys is like, and you see, it looks like he has an erection. And I'm just like, please stop.
Oh
And I'm
my
just like,
God. People are wild.
looking for phallic symbolism everywhere.
Yeah, right.
Now, Diana, do you have a particular favorite filmmaker?
Oh my God. Who's the one? What is Judd Apatow the one who did the like the King of Staten Island?
Yes.
Yeah, and then Big Time Adolescence.
With
Pete Davidson as well. Have you seen that?
I did. I'm trying to
Okay,
think
yeah.
if Judd Apatow was involved in that, but yeah, Pete Davidson, he had quite a year
Oh
last.
my God, yeah. I didn't know he was this amazing actor. Like, because I like him on SNL. We're both from Staten Island. Like, we have that connection going on. And I hadn't seen King of Staten Island yet. It was before I went to visit my family for the holidays. And my mom said, we're going to watch that one together, which is like the most awkward thing ever. Um, but yeah, we're from Staten Island, so she wanted to see it. So I watched Big Time Adolescence, and I really like that one. And then I don't know if it was the same, if it was also Judd Apatow, but I feel like it might have been because they have this similar style, the two movies.
I'm trying to think if he was at least involved in some shape or form, but like,
Yeah.
not gonna lie, Diana's the only person that I know of from Staten Island, so I 100% thought of you when I was watching that movie.
That's so funny. My mom and I were like watching it and we're like looking on our phones. We're like, okay, like, oh, we know this. Like, we know where they filmed that. Like, he worked at Danino's and like everyone knows Danino's.
Yeah, the only time I've been to Staten Island was when we visited you after our freshman
Yeah.
year
Oh
of
my God,
college.
that's right.
Oh, what times.
I know.
Band trip with Jeff and Leonard
Yeah.
in the carpool.
Yes.
Oh man. But yeah, I enjoyed King of Staten Island a lot. And
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, I didn't have a whole lot of experience with Pete Davidson. Like I hadn't like I don't watch SNL a whole lot. So
Hmm.
like I didn't know, honestly, I didn't really know who he was. But like Big
Hmm.
Time Adolescence and that really caught my attention, and like it was very heartfelt. And
Hmm.
like Judd Apatow has a little bit of an issue with knowing when to stop a scene and maybe not making his comedies like 2 hours plus.
Yeah.
At least
That whole second part of King of Staten Island could have existed as its own movie.
yeah, and it's like I think the one scene that like captures that about Judd Apatow so much is when they're on like that dilapidated like playground or whatever,
Yeah.
and the jokes just kept coming, and I'm like, when's he gonna cut?
Yeah.
and
I know what you're talking about.
and like they just kept going. And
Yeah.
this is why he makes 2 hour 15, 2 hour and 30-minute comedies. Just let it go. But I'm definitely going to be looking out for what Pete Davidson does moving forward, because that one was
Yeah.
really big.
He's so talented, and I feel like people just give him a bad rep because he's got that bad boy look. You know, he was involved with Ariana Grande, which I love her too, but that whole thing was a hot mess. And it's just like, no, he's this really talented guy. Like, got to give him more credit.
He's really funny. And
Yeah.
I laughed a lot during that movie and in Big Time Adolescence.
Yeah.
And I think I have to double check, but I think he's in the Suicide Squad.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So I'm like, along with the 20 other people
Yeah.
in the Suicide Squad, I'm just hoping he's not one of the ones that gets killed within like 10 minutes.
Right. Oh
Because
my God. Could you imagine?
that's 100% going to happen. I'm making that prediction now. Half those people are dying within 10 minutes of the movie
How
starting.
they get your like 20 bucks or however much it costs to stream it or whatever, and then they kill everyone off, and then no one's left, and it's like, oh, damn it.
Well, John Cena's still going to be there with
Hmm.
his weird metal helmet and his silly looking pants. Oh man, because they can't see him right there. Diana knows I watch a lot. I watched a lot of pro wrestling all through college.
Yeah.
Now, Diana, who are your favorite actors and actresses?
Oh, I love Kristen Wiig. I guess you can tell I'm kind of like a big SNL person, but like I love her. She's so funny. Like Bridesmaids is such a good movie. Like that is whenever that's on TV. Normally I don't stop and watch movies on TV when they're on, but like I will go ahead, stop what I'm doing and like just watch that because it's so funny.
Yeah,
I like Adam Sandler again, like another SNL guy. I'm trying to think like I don't have anything like off the top of my head besides them, but like it's like when I'm watching a movie, I'm like, oh, I like that. Oh, you know, I really liked Heath Ledger. He was freaking phenomenal. I loved A Knight's Tale. A Knight's Tale was one of my favorite movies.
you know what's funny? I watched that in English class
So did I.
some point in high school. Like
Yeah.
how to get a bunch of teenagers to be interested in Shakespeare and stuff like that. Watch A Knight's
Chaucer.
Tale.
Yeah. You know what's so
And
funny? I went to an all-girls Catholic high school, so they played it. It was senior year English class. I think it was Brit Lit. And like, do you know the part where he's like riding on the horse and he looks at the camera? Like every single girl in the class, which is like all of us, we were like, oh.
so dreamy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
what a
remember
guy.
watching that in high school and Dead Poet Society. Those are definitely the two movies watching in
Mm,
English class. But Heath Ledger was very talented. But
yeah. What a
obviously very
shame.
sad.
Yeah.
I can't watch Dark Knight without just gets right under your skin.
Mm.
And
He played that role so well.
sure did. And he
Yeah.
earned that Oscar.
Oh
And
yeah.
Adam Sandler, I feel like if you're a guy my age, you
Hmm.
had to have watched Adam Sandler movies growing up at some point.
Yeah.
And like I could quote most of those 90s Adam Sandler movies from
Yeah.
start to finish. And I do quote them pretty regularly. But like he is a really talented actor. And if nobody realizes that, go watch Uncut Gems. It'll
Hmm.
definitely mess your day up. Like
Yeah, I haven't watched that one yet, but I heard like, whew.
it was funny because I watched that on Christmas Day because like it
Oh
came out
boy.
around Christmas.
'Tis the season.
This is the season to like watch an extremely intense and violent movie with Adam Sandler. And I love Kristen Wiig, and it's
Yeah.
so funny, and like she has such a way about her, whereas like she's really funny. She could be very
Hmm.
sexy. You see
Yeah.
that in Wonder in like the Wonder Woman 1984 when
Hmm.
she starts off all like frumpy and looking like a geek, and then throw on some animal prints,
Hmm.
completely different. And then you have movies like Barb and Star that came out this year.
Oh my God, I want to see that so badly.
It is a weird movie, like
Really?
weird,
Okay.
weird,
Like,
but
define weird.
like it's like a Bond spoof in
Oh,
some ways,
interesting.
which
Okay.
you do not get that with
No.
trailers, but like within like the first like opening scenes of the movie, you're just like, is this the, I'm
Interesting.
like, is this the movie that I signed up for? And
Right.
but like when they do introduce Barb and Star though, she's so hilarious, and just the two of them together because like they wrote Bridesmaids and they wrote this together, and
Yeah.
they're they're a funny couple of
Hmm.
just pretending to like they have that whole entire like they look like they have like the permed afro hair
Yeah.
and just like the obnoxious everything and like the Barb and Star.
Yeah.
It's just all about it. It's just like it's a lot of fun though. I laughed a lot watching that movie. Just
Oh,
it's
good.
weird. It's
Yeah.
a weird movie. And it has random musical numbers in it. And like Jamie Dornan has like a random musical number in it.
Get out.
And I'm like, this is the dude from 50
But
Shades.
yeah. Hmm.
And I'm just like, uh, okay.
Interesting.
I'm enjoying this, but I'm like, what is this movie?
Yeah.
Because not gonna lie, when that trailer came out last year, I'm like, I have to see this movie. What is this? This looks
Yeah.
ridiculous. That chubby Asian kid on the bike at the beginning, singing
Hmm.
along to that pop song, throwing the newspapers on people's steps. I'm like, I have to see this movie. This looks funny. And that's the opening of the movie, and then it gets weird from there.
Interesting. Yeah, that I what you said a Bond spoof. I would have never like like that was not what came to mind.
There's like basically a Bond villain is the antagonist of this movie, and I'm just like, what is going on here?
Interesting. Okay.
So, for those of you who haven't seen Barb and Star yet, it's a weird movie, but it's a lot of fun. You should go check it
Now
out.
you know what to expect.
Now, Diana, do you have a particular movie that you feel like you could watch just like every day?
Yeah. So the Princess Diaries or the Princess Diaries 2, like those kind of movies, like that are just so silly, like definitely that, like Bridesmaids, 50 First Dates, like those feel good, like comedy. As far as Disney movies go, maybe Tangled. What's another Disney movie I like? Oh, like Peter Pan. I love movies
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah, I remember when the Princess Diaries came out. I'm like, and Anne Hathaway like blew up,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. It seems like a lot of people don't like Anne Hathaway.
I know.
I like Anne Hathaway. She she also makes some interesting choices, like The
Yeah.
Witches. That was an interesting choice
Yeah. Yeah.
last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
But
You know what else she was in that I like though? That's another one that's like if it's on Bravo, I'll watch it. Bride Wars.
Who was she in that with, like, Katherine Heigl?
Kate Hudson.
Kate
And Chris
Hudson.
Pratt's in it too.
Look at Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
Was he still chubby Chris Pratt at the time?
Yeah, this might have been either at the start of Parks and Rec or before Parks and Rec.
It's so interesting watching like I know one movie that I enjoy watching is like the 5 Year Engagement. And I'm
Hmm.
like with Emily Blunt and Jason Segel in it. It's just like, oh crap, Chris Pratt was in this.
Yeah.
And it's just like pre-park, like besides Parks and Rec and before like Marvel and Jurassic World and stuff like
Yeah.
that, I'm just like, he was a thing before this.
Right?
I am a little surprised by this. And he just like randomly pops up in things because he's like he had a small role in the movie Her and
Oh, yeah.
Wanted, and I'm just like, wait a minute. But yeah, you really played a character well when they literally changed the show to keep you on it.
Yeah.
Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah.
Andy was
He
saying
was
that.
one of my favorite actors, but like he's made some choices in his personal life that I'm like, maybe I don't love you as much as I thought I did.
Yeah, Chris Pratt. I think a lot of people have soured on Chris Pratt a lot
Yeah.
lately. And like I'll still enjoy watching him as Star-Lord and
Yeah.
having his macho off with Chris Hemsworth, which like I don't think we're winning that one.
No.
Like Chris Hemsworth looks actually like a god.
Yes. It's
And
wild.
I've seen like the set photos from that have been leaking out for like Love and Thunder. I'm just like,
Mhm.
yep, there's Chris Hemsworth looking buff as ever.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, his arm is literally bigger than my head. Like, holy crap. Now, do you have a particular film, Diana, that you feel like you connect with on a closer level because it relates to another interest of yours?
Interesting. That's a really good question. I don't know. I mean, I always say like, oh, Disney movies, like, because Disney is just a big interest of mine. But I don't know. I might have to come back to you on that one because it's also part of the problem. Is like I feel like we're getting old, and I'm like, what do I do for fun, and what are my interests? Like, had you asked me this 10 years ago in college, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's definitely this. And now I'm like, what is life outside of my job?
It's funny because this is my life outside of my job.
Yeah.
So it's like movies are my interest, which is
Yeah.
fun because like obviously there's plenty of movies about movies and
Hmm.
stuff like that, but we could definitely come back to that one.
Yeah.
That's one of the more interesting ones that I like to hear people's
Yeah.
responses to. Now, do you have a particular movie character that you feel like you connect with on a personal level?
Yeah. So I mean, God, they all end up being Disney characters. It's like people are gonna love or hate that. So obviously, like I said before, Rapunzel, like I just feel like she's like we're the same exact person. Like there's this one scene where like she gets out of the tower and she's like, I can't believe I did this. And then like she's like, I can't believe I did this. And she's like going back and forth, and like Flynn wants to like blow his brains out. Like that's literally me and like any guy I'm dating. Like that's our dynamic all the time. And then there was another one from The Princess and the Frog, the blonde girl, Charlotte, and she's just like always so excited and like always so emotional. Like that's me.
And it's like I that kind of energy is something special.
Thank you.
And and it's just like a lot of the times it's just like you have those moments where you're just like, I did this. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did I have done this? Just like
Literally me, like ever since I, well, not ever since I moved to LA, but that first few, the first few months and then the pandemic, like definitely.
it's like I did a thing, but I did a thing.
Like, oh crap, I did it. Like, what does my arm do now?
Just like I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah.
Like Ricky, put your hands down.
Yeah, right?
I don't know what to do with my hands. Now, Diana, do you have a film that you love that you think would surprise people?
Maybe The Dark Knight. Like those were the whole Dark Knight series was always one of my favorite movies. I think I saw The Dark Knight maybe 3 times in theaters. And I know a lot of people like who knew my ex, like my ex was super into the Joker. Like they thought, oh, that's why she loves The Dark Knight. But like, no, I was big on that before him.
Just like, this was my thing, so let me have credit for this.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I didn't actually wind up seeing The Dark Knight in theaters. I remember getting the DVD and watching that for the first time and being like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Because I actually recall, I think the first superhero movie, like comic book movie that I saw in theaters was Spider-Man 3. Oh boy, was that a big thing when that came out. And now everybody hates it. And then I remember Iron Man and The Dark Knight both came out in 2008, but I saw The Incredible Hulk. I'm like, out of the 3 of them, that was probably the worst choice. Not that it's a bad movie, but like, it's not Iron Man, it's not The Dark Knight. And it's interesting because I love this podcast that I'm been listening to called The Cinephiles, and they like dived deep into a classic film, and I had just listened to the Dark Knight episode that they had, and just like brought up all kinds of feelings and thinking about like Heath Ledger and everything, like really carried that movie in so many ways. And boy, so creepy. And why so serious?
Yeah.
Such a thing. And it's funny because are you talking about Dan?
Yeah.
Because like how many guys, like you go to a convention and it's just like somebody's all The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
The Joker. I'm just like, yeah, not my thing.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't dress up as the Joker. Joker, it's funny because I always like Bane more. I also like The Dark Knight Rises more. Those comments on this video and why people are going to tell me why I'm wrong. But
go easy on him.
That's a very interesting thing about loving film and being involved in like talking about movies and reviewing movies. It's like everybody has their tastes and everybody has their opinions and everything. So, which is very interesting with like the Zack Snyder's Justice League came out today. And half the people I see on Instagram were like, this is the greatest film of all time. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, it was better. But I'm like, I didn't love this.
Right.
Also, this was 4 hours and 2 minutes. I don't think this movie needed to be 4 hours and 2 minutes.
That's so long.
Like, it's funny because I didn't feel like it took 4 hours, but it did feel like, my God, there was a lot of content in
I could be like 3/4 of the way home in like 4 hours and 2 minutes. That's so wild.
Oh man. And it's just like, if they didn't use so much slow-mo, it probably would have been 3 hours.
Yeah.
But it's a Zack Snyder movie. Now, I have one last question for you, Diana. I don't know if you can swing back around to the other one if you...
Oh, I did. Do you want me to tell you?
Yes.
Marie Antoinette.
Okay.
Because the French Revolution is kind of like my favorite period in history. And I just always love like, like going back and looking at the outfits and how they portrayed it. It's just so interesting to me. And that movie, I think I watched it on a plane ride home from a work trip once. And it was just really interesting because I remember there wasn't a lot of dialogue. Like, because
I don't think I've seen that, but was that the one with Kirsten Dunst?
Yes.
Yep. Pretty sure that was Sofia Coppola who directed.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, obviously, I don't think she's the greatest actress, Sofia Coppola, Godfather Part 3, but she definitely is a talented director, and at least the part that I've seen of hers I really enjoyed, so maybe I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, I think it's been a few years since I've seen it, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of dialogue. Like, I think that was that movie's thing. But it told a really good story. I could be totally wrong. Everyone could come for me in the comments now.
We're all making
My
friends
turn.
tonight.
Yeah.
Now I lost my thought. Poof, there it went. So I am sure it'll come back to me. But
Yeah.
my last question for you, Diana, is what do you love most about movies?
Oh, that's a good question. Kind of like you're just taken somewhere else. Like when I was little and I'd watch a movie, like I'd have to play whatever that movie was about after I was done. So like if I watched Legally Blonde, like it was time to play lawyer, like super fashionable lawyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, you just want to become part of the movie, and that's like it's so talented that like people can make this fantasy land like it's just not real, but like they make it so real,
Hmm.
and so much work goes into it.
Exactly. And I know every time I watch Mad Max Fury Road, I want to go become a nomad in the wasteland. I probably wouldn't do so well for myself. That probably wouldn't go so well. But that's the cool thing, being able to like connect with like a character and like especially, and it's interesting when it's like you learn something about like a profession or a
Hmm.
culture and really diving into it and you feel it because you're
Yeah.
through that journey with the character. So
Legally Blonde made me want to go to UCLA for college, which obviously that didn't happen, but now I'm being treated there. So like universe works in mysterious ways, I
it
guess.
came back around. So
Exactly.
wound up there. Now
Yeah.
I like to wrap things up on Lost in the Wasteland with my guest asking me a question. So, do you have a question for the Wasteland reviewer?
Yeah, is there like an Oscar award that you think they got wrong? Like someone
Funny you
else should
should
got
say
it.
that.
Yeah.
Uh, I was actually having this conversation over Instagram message with one of the editors of Sif Pop that I work with. Because
Mhm.
I feel like every year there's that one award that you're just like, ah, come on.
Yeah.
Why'd you give it to them? And the one that because like I've had Oscar parties every year since 2015, I guess it
Mhm.
was. And I remember, speaking of Mad Max Fury Road, so that's one of my favorite films of all time. And
Mhm.
it swept up like 6 technical awards, which it should have. And
Mhm.
I was sitting there thinking, my God, can George Miller win Best Director this year? Because, like, come
Mhm.
on, how did he make that work? Like, he
Mhm.
deserved that Oscar. And I remember sitting there waiting. And when they announced Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu winning for Revenant, I'm just like, God damn it. And I like
Yeah.
tucked my notebook with all my picks in it onto the floor. I'm just like, no. I'm so upset. Because like I haven't done anything with them, but like I'll occasionally write scripts and like I'll get
Yeah.
to a place where it's like through college and grad school, I had a set of screenplays like in my head and I had
Yeah.
never gotten the motivation to write them down. And they were so heavily influenced by George Miller and Mad Max. And they inspired me being that whole entire world of Mad Max. And I love George Miller. He's one of my favorite directors. And I'm like, give the man that Oscar. And it's so interesting because he was a man who he was a like he was a doctor in an emergency room. And
Mhm.
he saw all this carnage of people and car accidents and stuff like that. And like he had an idea. And then
That's crazy.
Max came from. And then in 2015, he finally released a movie after what, close to 30 years since the last one. Warner Brothers gave him $150 million to go out into the desert and just make complete madness. And it was
Yeah.
perfect madness. So that is definitely the one that I have the strongest feelings about.
Yeah.
You know, because this, as we're filming this, it was a couple of days ago that they did the Oscar announcements, and
Mhm.
sitting there watching Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, and Nick Jonas reading off all the nominations, which
Mhm.
we read all their names. We
Mhm.
basically just read the movies because I don't think he wanted to attempt saying everybody's name.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, how did that person not get nominated? How did that movie not get nominated? And that's one of the lovely things about following award shows, because you're just like, they're wrong.
That was me with the Grammys, so I totally get it.
This is silly. The only thing I watched of the Grammys was like I felt compelled to look up Cardi B's performance, as everybody was like, because like that was actually the first time I actually listened to the song WAP.
Mm-hmm. It's catchy.
And I'm just like, it sure is a song and it sure is catchy. And I'm like watching this performance and I'm like, because I saw a bunch of articles popping up on YouTube. It's like FCC's getting tons of complaints about this performance. And the FCC came out and was like, we get these complaints every time one of these show comes on. And basically Cardi B is facing down like half the country because they're mad about Dr. Seuss.
I freaking love Cardi B. She like just does not care. Another New Yorker. She just doesn't care. Like she's unapologetically herself, and that's the energy we need.
And because the thing is, it's like, and you know this family, I don't listen to a whole lot of modern music. Like, I grew up listening to classic rock music and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's only a handful of musical artists that I actually know that are like current artists. And like I know of Cardi B mostly because of that movie.
With Jennifer Lopez?
Yeah.
Hustlers.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, she did these things. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and it's funny because obviously Billie Eilish is like,
I love her.
So
I just saw her documentary, by the way.
Which when I got that screener for that, I'm like, I was really excited to watch it because she's
so good
in person. It is. So you should all get Apple TV Plus and go check out Billie Eilish's documentary.
Yes.
So the first time I ever heard about Billie Eilish was when the Bombshell trailer came out for that film about Fox News, and Bad Guy was in the trailer. I'm like, this is a really cool song. And Jess is like, do you not know who Billie Eilish is? And I'm like, no. And
you're probably like, who is he? No.
Well, at least I could tell that.
Yeah, that's true.
Listened to the song. And like, obviously, it's like, wow, this is like a teenage girl.
She is like a prodigy. It's that whole family, because her brother too has a song I really like, and when I was driving, I'll never forget, I was driving freaking Walmart, and I'm like, who is this? And the name just said Phineas, and like I knew she had a brother named Phineas, but I didn't put it together. And when I got to the parking lot, I Googled it, I was like, that family, I had like tears in my eyes. I'm like so proud of this family. Like, that family is so talented. Like, I'm so proud of them. Like, they don't know who I am.
And I'm like, I want to see the new Bond movie with her song over the credits. And I don't know if we'll ever see this movie. It's gonna keep getting pushed back forever.
Yeah.
I would hoping that people do what they're supposed to do, and I'll actually be able to see that movie in October or November when it's supposed to come out now.
Yeah.
But
yeah. I mean, Hollywood's opening back up, so.
I know one of my first plans when I have my vaccine is trying to rent out a theater to go watch Black Widow, because I'm gonna miss that one. But yeah, so yeah, my only experience with the 2021 Grammys was looking up Cardi B's performance, because I'm like, what's everybody so mad about? And
my favorite part about that was like, I love Post Malone, and like Cardi, like I think she was on the pole, and like Post is just like, I'm like, that's my boy. Like, yeah.
I do know who Post Malone is.
Such joy.
And,
I love him.
And I'm like, I remember watching the video and seeing that cut to him. I'm like, oh, look, it's Post Malone.
He was so happy. He's like the nicest guy. When I went to the American Music Awards, like he walked off stage to come grab my hands because I was yelling like an idiot. And we had a moment. We had a meet cute.
That's a special moment.
Yeah, he did not have to walk off stage, but like he got his award and I screamed his name and he looked at me and he came down the stairs and I was like, I did not plan for this part. Like, what do I do? It was cute.
How long was it until you washed that hand?
I know, right? This was pre-COVID, so probably a little bit longer before than I would now. I think before I went to go eat my In-N-Out burger. Big burger.
Fair. Oh man.
Yeah.
So I have one last funny story actually about Post Malone before we wrap up. So I teach at college, and one of my peers, he's an older guy. I love him. He's a great guy. The students love him. I went to talk to his class one day, and he started playing Post Malone song before class, and all the students are like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, you all think this old guy doesn't know who Post Malone is?"
That's so cute.
And I'm like, "You go, Bob."
That's so cute.
Like, he knows who Post Malone is because of his grandkids, but like,
yeah.
But I'm like, see, that's how you connect to college students.
There you go.
Popular music before you start class. So to all your teachers out there, you're going to teach a bunch of boring math that they don't want to learn. Play Post Malone beforehand. You'll get there.
Yeah, I'd sign up for that class.
Would you though?
Maybe not. I'd stay for the music and I'd go.
That is fair. But Diana, this was a lot of fun.
Thank you. I had so much fun.
I'm glad that we got to catch up a little bit and chat and talk about my complete lack of knowledge of modern music. But, you know, we do our best.
You know Post Malone and you heard Cardi B. I'm proud of you. These are two very big steps for you. And you know Billie Eilish, so you're on your way.
I'm making it. There we go. But Diana, I'm going to let you do one last shameless plug of whatever you'd like to shamelessly plug.
Yes, follow me on Instagram at Diana Gebbia, Gebbia. If you watch any reality TV, DM me. I always respond back. I got big opinions and I love to share them.
There you go. And I also have a lot of opinions, which is why I make these videos. So some of you watch them. Apparently, a lot of people in South America started watching my videos because of The Mole Agent, which is nominated for an Oscar this year. Just cracked 2,000 views. Strange.
Nice.
Strange little things. But Diana, thank you for coming on. And thank all of you out there for always tuning in and supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.